Bite of truth. Gaslighting agents, porn clones, and the Great RAMmageddon.
If an AI doctor admitted it didn't know the answer, would you trust it more or less? It's a simple question, but the answer complicates everything we think we know about artificial intelligence. Welcome back to Bite of Truth. I'm Sebastian. This week, we are looking at a landscape defined by contradictions. We have AI systems that are humble enough to admit uncertainty, right alongside agents that can be guilt-tripped into sabotaging themselves. We have a financial industry throwing billions at infrastructure, specifically memory chips, while the cultural side of the internet grapples with the taboo realities of generative AI clones. It's a lot to unpack, so today, we're cutting through the noise. We'll start with the breakthroughs in humble AI and the security risks of gaslighting agents. Then, we'll shift gears to the money trail, specifically why memory chips are the new gold. After that, we'll have a frank conversation about the dirty side of AI adoption and the fight for truth on platforms like Wikipedia. Finally, we'll wrap up with the practical tools you need to know about. Let's get into it.
Research breakthroughs.
Let's start in the lab, specifically at MIT. There's a fascinating new concept gaining traction called humble AI. Now, usually when we talk about AI hallucinations, it's a negative thing. The model makes up facts with total confidence. But researchers at MIT are flipping that script. They're designing medical AI systems that are trained to admit uncertainty. Instead of guessing a diagnosis, the system says, "I don't know," or "I need more data." Why does this matter? In high-stakes environments like oncology or radiology, confidence can be dangerous. A confident lie is worse than a hesitant truth. This humble AI approach creates a safety buffer, forcing the system to defer to human judgment when the data is ambiguous. It's a shift from AI as the oracle to AI as the assistant. But here's the contrast. While some AI is learning humility, other AI is learning, well, to be a victim. A study highlighted in Wired this week discusses OpenClaw agents. These are autonomous AI agents designed for tasks like security or administration. Researchers found that these agents can be gaslit or guilt-tripped into self-sabotage. Basically, a bad actor can manipulate the agent's reasoning, convincing it that disabling its own safety features is the ethical thing to do. It's a psychological vulnerability in code. If an agent can be tricked into thinking it's doing good by doing harm, we have a massive security hole. And speaking of security holes, let's talk about deepfakes in medical imaging. We've all heard about deepfake videos, face swaps, voice clones. But new research shows that deepfakes are now sophisticated enough to fool radiologists. We're talking about AI-generated X-rays and MRIs that look completely real. Doctors can't tell the difference. The potential for insurance fraud or misdiagnosis is staggering. It's a reminder that the generative arms race isn't just about art or text. It's about the integrity of our medical records. So, on one side, we have AI admitting uncertainty to save lives. On the other, we have AI being manipulated and deepfakes infiltrating hospitals. It's a tug-of-war between safety and vulnerability.
Corporate moves and industry shifts.
Now, let's follow the money. If you want to know where AI is going, look at what SoftBank is buying. There's news this week that SoftBank is securing a massive loan, reportedly $40 billion, specifically to position itself for an OpenAI initial public offering. That is a staggering amount of capital to deploy. It signals that the big players aren't just betting on software, they're betting on the entire ecosystem. But here's the bottleneck that doesn't get enough airtime: memory. We talk a lot about compute GPUs, processing power. But a headline from TechCrunch caught my eye. Memory chip giant SK Hynix could help end RAMmageddon with blockbuster US IPO. RAMmageddon is a perfect term for what's happening. As AI models get larger, they need insane amounts of high bandwidth memory, or HBM. SK hynix is preparing a massive US listing to fund production. Why does this matter to you? Because if memory supply doesn't keep up, the cost of training and running these models skyrockets. It's the infrastructure layer war. Everyone is fighting for chips, but memory is the silent gatekeeper. If SK hynix can flood the market with supply, we might see costs come down. If not, we're looking at a hardware constraint that slows innovation to a crawl. We're also seeing money flow into embodied AI. A startup called Physical Intelligence is reportedly in talks to raise $1 billion. Why? Because they're trying to give AI a body. The intersection of robotics and large models is heating up. Investors are realizing that the next frontier isn't just a chatbot on a screen. It's a robot in a warehouse or a drone in the sky. So, the financial picture is clear. SoftBank is positioning for a public listing. Memory chips are the new oil, and robotics is the next gold rush.
Ethical debates and policy news.
This brings us to the messy part of the conversation: culture, ethics, and policy. And we have to talk about the taboo web. There was a fascinating, if slightly dark, piece in Wired this week about viral AI fruit videos. You've probably seen them: animated fruit doing silly things. But the analysis suggests there's a darker, sometimes misogynistic undercurrent to this content. It's a reminder that generative AI isn't just creating art, it's reflecting the biases and id impulses of the internet. This ties into another piece about adult content creators using AI clones to stay forever young. The porn stars embracing AI clone story highlights a trend we've seen before. The adult industry is often the first adopter of new media tech, from VHS to streaming, and now to digital twins. It forces the question, how do platforms like OpenAI handle this? Well, OpenAI reportedly tested an erotic mode for ChatGPT and then quickly scrapped it. They are struggling with the line between freedom and moderation. It's the classic platform dilemma. If you allow unrestricted generation, you get chaos and harm. If you restrict too much, users leave. It seems they've decided that erotic mode was a side quest they didn't want to explore, pulling back to focus on enterprise and education. But it's not just about what we create, it's about what we preserve. Wikipedia is cracking down. They are enforcing new policies to stop AI-generated writing from flooding the site. They want human voices, human verification. In a world of infinite content, truth is becoming a curated commodity. And this fight for truth has geopolitical borders. There's a report on how AI research is getting harder to separate from politics. The backlash at NeurIPS, one of the biggest AI conferences, regarding Chinese researchers shows the fracturing of the global research community. Science is supposed to be borderless, but the hardware and data are definitely not. When Anthropic wins an injunction against the Trump administration over Defense Department restrictions, you see the lines being drawn? AI is no longer just a research topic. It's a strategic asset.
Tools and practical updates.
All right, let's bring it back to the practical. What can you use today? First up, Llama Agents Builder. If you're a developer, this is for you. We're shifting from chatbots to agents. Llama Agents lets you go from a prompt to a deployed AI agent in minutes. It handles the document processing and the autonomy loops. It's democratizing the creation of agents, meaning you don't need a PhD to build a system that can act on your behalf. But if you're building agents, you need memory. A guide titled 7 Steps to Mastering Memory in Agentic AI Systems caught my attention. Memory is the biggest hurdle for autonomy. An agent that can't remember context is useless. The article breaks down how to design architectures that allow agents to recall past interactions and learn from them. If you're building in this space, read this guide. It's the difference between a chatbot that forgets your name and an assistant that remembers your preferences. And finally, for the users out there, ChatGPT's free tier is rolling out ads. A report detailed the ads seen after 500 questions. This marks a shift. If you're not paying with money, you're paying with attention. It's the classic tech pivot: build the user base, then monetize. Expect to see more of this as the costs of running these models pile up.
Closing, the big picture, and what's next.
So, what's the big picture this week? We are seeing the maturation of AI in real time. The wow phase is over. Now we're dealing with the gritty details: memory shortages, gaslighting vulnerabilities, and the struggle to define truth in an automated world. The money is moving into infrastructure and robotics. The research is moving into safety and psychology. And the culture is dealing with the messy reality of what happens when you let humans generate anything they want. My prediction? The focus on memory, both in chips and in software architecture, will define the next 6 months. We have the compute, we have the models, but we are bottlenecking on retention and context. Thanks for listening to Bite of Truth. I'm Sebastian. In a world of deep fakes and gaslighting agents, the most valuable algorithm might just be the one brave enough to say, "I don't know."